Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Aligned Plans. Thank you so much for coming by, for hanging out with me today. So in today's video, we're really going to dive deeper into how many planners should you have? And if you're brand new within the planner community or you are seasoned, I know that some of you have been asking this question for a long time. This is sort of like that ongoing discussion of how many planners is enough? Should we stick with just one or should we have multiple? As you can tell, I have a few planners in front of me and I have been able to kind of break this down and kind of explain my thought process into 5 different categories. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to kind of unpack some of the reasonings, and then that way you can decide for yourself how many planners should you actually have if you have a planner. So if that sounds good, let's dive right into the video. And of course, if this is the first time that we're meeting and we've never met before, well, hello, my name is Meshi and I am the sound and the voice behind Aligned Plans. I chat with you every Tuesday and every Saturday, and we talk about anything and everything minimalist planning. And the intention behind it is to kind of use these tools in the most intentional and meaningful way, where you don't just buy the planners, but you actually utilize them for what they're intended for. So if that sounds good, you might want to stick around and subscribe. Okay, let's dive right into this. So really, I think the question here is, and I see so many planning channels kind of talk about how many planners should you have, but they always kind of come from a place of how many planners they have, and somehow explaining and justifying how many planners they have and why they have that many planners. Ultimately, I think what actually matters is that you can't, and honestly, you shouldn't place yourself in someone else's shoes. To me, when it comes to planning, I think that the very first thing is for you to really take a moment and assess your own personal needs. And your own personal needs of what you are planning on using the planner for is actually going to be highly individual to you. It's not going to match mine. It's not going to match my circumstances, my time availability. It's not going to match mine. So I think that that's the very first thing to kind of understand and really see not only what your actual needs are, but ultimately what is the main function. And for some of you, the main function really is just to kind of have a written version of your digital calendar. And that's perfect. So I will show you a couple of my personal planners and why I use them. Not that you haven't seen them. I mean, I just finished a plan with me within my A5 planner. If you guys want to see a flip through of this, just please let me know in the comments. I would love to film that for you. I don't know why I haven't actually done a full flip through, because I always update it every single month when my cloth and paper box comes in. But anyway, that's another discussion. But comment below, you guys, if you want to see an actual flip through for this one. So this is obviously my main planner that I use all the time. And as you can tell, I have my full monthly layout here and my full weekly layout. And this is ultimately what I use as my main calendar. So this is sort of where I update my days and what's happening, and I kind of keep track of things. So that's the purpose this guy serves. Now, I also have, as you might have seen, I also have this guy. This is the spiral bound planner that came with Cloth and Paper's December sub box. So it's a very simple kind of done for you situation where you have a weekly layout and then you have a monthly layout. Super simple, right? So the main purpose of this planner is actually for me to hash out and really write down in detail all my social media plans, even though I do have an insert that I also use within my A5 planner. But I find that here I can kind of color coordinate where I'm going to be creating a post, where I'm going to be creating a reel, how many TikToks I'm doing, and then I really hash it out here. And then sometimes I transfer that information into my main planner where I can kind of just refer back to it. But this is sort of my brainstorming. This never really makes it onto any of my posts. You probably haven't seen any pictures of this. It's because it's sort of like a ghost planner, and sometimes you need those. So I'm not even going to really discuss too much further about this, but this could just be the planner. For me personally, this wouldn't be enough. I also wanted to dive into the Hobonichi world. I honestly didn't know what to expect, so I bought both the weeks as well as the Techo, and this is an A6 size, which again, I wasn't really giving it too much hope as to what I'm going to be using it for. I didn't really know what to expect. So It has like a little monthly. I have to say I like adore this size. Like this is so functional, you guys. Oh my goodness. Like I have like a little love affair with this. I definitely don't share this very often on my channel or on social media. If you guys ever want to see like a plan with me on this one, let me know. This is, to me, the full purpose of this, and like the needs that it fills for me. It's just simply, I generally keep track of, I don't keep track of my agenda here very often. I literally just use this for memory keeping, and sometimes I add pictures. So sometimes I add like little journaling. Hang on, let me see where I put that. I just did a spread the other day. Oh, that was in May. So I'm hoping to really learn the craft of journaling and memory keeping. So this would be like an example of that. Super cute, right? This would never make it into my main planner. There's just no way. Like you couldn't pay me enough money for this to become my A5 planner. Just because if I did this, I could never actually keep track of my actual agenda. So will I do this with every single spread? Probably not, but I kind of like that it gives me the freedom to play with washi tape and to become functional. And generally I just kind of keep track of like any card pulls that I do. But I love it. It makes me so happy. Super colorful. I can do like hand lettering. I can add, you know, some of the inserts from Sterling ink. It's just a super fun, cute little functional little guy, and that's the purpose that it serves. So let's move on to, and of course you guys have seen the weeks, and I do plan with me's in this one like regularly. So this one is sort of like a smaller version of my A5. We'll talk about this in a moment as to why that's important. Let's talk about reason number 2. You also want to evaluate exactly how much time you have. Now, what I just explained to you, I sometimes find it hard to kind of update. And yes, there are days when this guy kind of takes a back seat because it's just simply, it's not as high of a priority as updating my A5 or as updating, let's say, my finance inserts and things like that. Something that is really relevant to my life. So you want to always evaluate how much time do you actually have available for you to be able to update your planner, and will you carve out and prioritize that time for you to actually sit down and plan? Because if you're finding it hard to kind of manage your time as is, then you will have a really hard time like managing multiple planners. I can tell you that right now. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about, so reason number 3, or the third, I guess, like criteria that you want to kind of run this through, how many planners you should have, is functionality and purpose. So as you can tell, when we were going through this, my A5 planner is sort of holds everything. It holds everything, but not everything. So it holds everything, and it holds like a micro information. So it holds micro information on like social media planning. It has a space for mental downloads, so for notes, so that I don't end up with 1,000 sticky notes. It also has a section for finances, which is very important. That's probably like a big bulk of this, right? And then it has like a small little section again for mindfulness and things like that. But is this the primary source for that? No, not really. But sometimes like I don't think to like use my journal, or I don't think to record it in my A5. Sometimes I just don't have the mental capacity for that. So then it's a nice way for me to just kind of capture it here. Now, as far as functionality is concerned when it comes to the weeks, so again, you guys have seen me use this, like set up like a plan with me. I did add a couple of like little sticker sets at the front. Main purpose of this, I really like the layout. I like how simple it is, and I really love how much information I have the ability to cram in here. Do I want to cram everything in there? No, but honestly, the weeks really reminds me of my bullet journaling days when I had to like rewrite everything. And yes, that was partially a nightmare, partially it was kind of relaxing and therapeutic, but this is sort of like a happy medium between my A5 and my bullet journal, which I don't have a bullet journal anymore. So I can get like these nice little translucent stickies. I can add some deco if I really wanted to, but honestly, this is something that comes with me everywhere. And like, I love how small and compact it is, and I can cram so much in here. And generally, I have like an idea, like I have like the page at the back. So I have a page back here with like all of these blank pages. This is where I actually capture most of my ideas, or like mental downloads and things like that, where it's like you know what, I just had an idea and it came to me at my work, let's write it down. And for that, this is so wonderful and small and compact. So for that reason, I really like it. Now, we talked about the the A6 little guy. This is definitely all about spirituality, all about mental health, all about any downloads, any processing that I would like to do. I generally tend to do it in this one. Sort of like I do like a card pull and I kind of write down how did that reflect back onto my life immediately. I also really love the little accessories that I got for it. So it's a very cute little planner that I absolutely adore working with. And then we talked about this guy, which is all about social media planning and like the cashing out ideas and anything else that I will do further on social media, online as a whole. I want it to be completely separate, because I find that even when I have the inserts here in the A5, it's still not going to be enough. Now let's talk about the number 4 sort of filtering thing that you can kind of go through, that you can kind of funnel this idea through of how many planners you should have. It should be the intention behind it, of having it. What is the reason? And it's a little bit, the reason behind it should be a little bit different than the functionality, right? So I think that it's important to note that sometimes you actually have the planner because it makes you feel a certain way, more than you need to find and justify the functionality. So I think that it's important to kind of know both, but I also think that sometimes when we think of functionality, we think very linear when it comes to functionality. We're thinking it must have a purpose. And sometimes having that purpose could just be that you use it for memory keeping and write down, memories, or it could be that you capture thoughts that you don't have a way of processing anywhere else, or you write down your favorite recipes. You need to give it a job, but also attached to that job is how does it make you feel? Because I don't think that every single purpose needs a planner. So keep that in mind. I don't think that you need a separate book for your recipes. I don't think that you need a separate book potentially for your mental health, unless you're choosing to do that. I don't think that you need to have like all of these little micro things that you can, or like, tracking your purchases. Like you can easily just get an insert for your A5 planner and then kind of call it a day. So kind of ask yourself when you're about to purchase the next planner, can I have an insert in my A5 planner or in my Happy Planner and just add that in, or would I want to expand on that and I would love it as a separate entity? And if the answer is yes, I would love to have it as a separate entity, and it really lights me up when I think about like updating this, it makes me feel really good, it makes me feel really inspired, then absolutely go for it. Now the last thing to consider is potentially your budget. When it comes to having a planner and maintaining a planner and also buying all the accessories for the planner, and then potentially getting into specific planner accessories that relate to that specific type of planner, it can become costly. Can you cross-use some of your, I don't know, like if you have like dot stickers or if you have like deco, can you cross-use them? For sure you can. Can that become a thing where you're kind of going overboard? Absolutely. So just kind of check yourself of what is the purpose, how much time do I have, and then beyond that, what is the purpose that I want to use it for? How does that make me feel? But beyond that, how much money am I willing to spend on this hobby, right? How much money am I willing to invest in this, and will that investment actually give me that thing that I'm trying to fill up, right? Like, will that give me the satisfaction of like capturing my memories? Will that give me the satisfaction of becoming a little bit more organized, or not feel so clustered in my mind that I have to kind of memorize everything, or like whatever your reason is? But you need to have a really strong reason, and then you need to be really clear about your budget, because otherwise what ends up happening is you feel like you need to buy all of the things, especially when there's a new release that's happening. If like in June, usually we have like the new releases from most of the brands, from Hobonichi, from Erin Condren, and then it's just like everybody sort of starts to feel that tingling of like, oh, I should go and buy a new planner, or I should like create a brand new system because what they're showing me is so pretty. So just please check on what is the purpose, how does that make you feel, Does it actually fall in, is that in alignment with your budget? And if it is, go for it. Ding, you have the green light, you're good to go. So I think these are some of my basic ideas as to how many planners you should have. I personally don't think that here's what I think. When you're getting started, I don't think that you should have more than one planner. I think that you should really check what is the purpose of your planner and see, as you start using it regularly and as you're updating it, when you have that little inkling or that little voice that says, oh, I wish I had space for that. I wish I could write that information somewhere, but I have like no space for it anywhere. Then that would be like a first indication that you should potentially have like a separate booklet or like a separate planner or a notebook or something that's separate from your current setup where you can really capture that information. So I would love to know. Let me know in the comments, first of all, how many planners do you have and how is that system working for you? This is all I have for you guys. I tried to keep it relatively short and sweet, even though this still became a long video. I hope that you have enjoyed this. If you did, you can give me a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you have not yet already. And just keep planning, you guys, and keep shining your light and keep enjoying these beautiful tools. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.